There is only one life energy, one thing, the thing itself, many names, but only one. Showing up as each of us, showing up as me, showing up as you, everybody, everywhere. In fact, everything, everywhere. There's no spot this is not one thing. It's really a complicated thing, but it's actually very simple. I am that. I am that love. I am that wisdom. I am that power. I am that. I just keep coming back to love. So even though it being Groundhog Day, I might want to stick my head back in the sand. Oh, wait, that's ostriches. I might want to stick myself back in the hole and not come out because I don't like what I'm seeing out there. I know that when I armor myself with love, when I overflow with love, knowing there's a purpose for everything, and that is God being love. All the other stuff is just stuff. So, like I said, it's simple. I am love. I am going about the business of being love. Being tested, not wanting to look and looking anyway, not wanting to listen and listening anyway. Knowing I don't know all the answers, but between me and Spirit, more comes. That's love. When we open to that possibility that between ourselves and Spirit, we can learn and grow and evolve and become even more love. Because we can and do. Grateful to know this. Grateful for this overflowingness. This standing and holding hands, holding hearts. Steadfastly knowing greater and better is yet to come. Steadfastly willing to look, steadfastly willing to stand in that power, in that knowledge, in the face of fear, in the face of doubt, being that love. At whatever level I can. Just for today. Just for this minute. Just forever. I'm going to let this go now. It's already done. In the mind of God. In the law, it is done. And so it is.
So the idea of interbeing is a concept that was popularized by Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's the idea that all of life is interconnected. All of life is one. Each entity existing because of the existence of the others, right? We're all here because we're all here. Ubuntu philosophy in the African philosophy of Ubuntu says basically the same thing. I am because we are. I am because we are. The Hindu idea of Indra's net, everything interconnected and inter-involved, not just interconnected, but inter-involved, is another illustration of this idea. You know, we like to think of our bodies as this is my body and this is me, this is who I am. Yet in truth, our bodies host thousands of non-human organisms, which are necessary for us to live. Biologist Lewis Thomas said our human bodies are shared, rented, and occupied. Think about that for a moment. You're a landlord just because you have a body. It's shared, rented, and occupied. Thich Nhat Hanh invites us to contemplate a flower and to notice all of the non-flower elements of it. For those of you who are in my Wednesday night class, this is kind of the same thing we just did with the strawberry. To notice that. The flower, if you look at it, it's full of life, and it contains soil, it contains rain, it contains sunshine. It's also full of clouds, oceans, and minerals, and even all of space and time up to this point in this moment. In fact, the whole of the cosmos is present in this one little flower. It took the whole of the cosmos being formed and forming and reforming and changing and shifting in order to be this one flower. Guess what this is also true of? Us. If it weren't for the interaction of the entire cosmos, we would not exist. So the idea that we are separate entities or self-made people is ridiculously untrue. Our body and our mind is a community. It's a place where all sorts of things and all sorts of processes are going on. So we do not be as a separate being, we interbe with each other and all of life. And then the term emptiness in our title doesn't mean nothingness or non-existence. Thich Nhat Hanh gives the example of an empty cup, noting that the cup must be there in order to be filled and used. The cup, even if it's empty, must be there. Think of yourself for a moment as a cup, empty and available. But we must be there. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The fact that I am here certainly shows me that the universe had need of an organ here." If we think of ourselves as organs in the body of the universe has a need for you and you and you and me and all of us. Otherwise, we won't be here, right? Nudge your neighbor. Say, "You're here because you're needed." Buffy, you're here because you're needed. But in order to be used, we must be empty. Yes? We must be empty of the false notion of a permanent, separate self so that we can be filled not from old conditioning and old patterns that don't serve the highest good, but instead open to the infinite presence that is created and is being the organ you are. Emerson went on to say something else with that same quote. And after saying that the universe had need of an organ here, he asked the question, shall I not assume the post? In other words, shall I not step up and be that organ? Shall I skulk and dodge and duck with my unseasonable apologies and vain modesty and imagine my being here impertinent? We are always being called to step up, to strive for greatness, and in doing so inspire others to their greatness. And so lift the whole because we are interbeing. We are an interbeing community, and that as we lift up or tear down one, we lift up or tear down all. Breathe. This is all a lovely idea, isn't it?
Yes.
Most of us in the center would agree in essence with this idea, but do we live it? Do we apply it? A gentleman named Lee Lozowick in the book The Alchemy of Transformation says it may well be true that you are not separate from God and that you are one of the cells of the great body of the divine. But if your behavior in every moment does not serve that reality, then the truth of it is essentially irrelevant. If you are in a supermarket when someone drops a bag of groceries on the floor and you don't help that person pick things up, what difference does it make how deeply you know that you are a being of God? How do we live it? How do we apply it? In this time, many of us feel the violation of all the things that are being done that tear down others out of the false belief that we are separate beings. Yes? And we are faced with a choice. Do we ignore it and hide away, dodge and duck and make excuses, be like the groundhog and run back into our cave, our safe little cave? I actually had somebody the other day say, well, it doesn't really matter because I'm getting old, and so it's not really going to affect me very much because I don't have to put up with this for much longer. And it's like, great, what a wonderful attitude. And it's happening now, and it's happening to people that we all are interacting with, interconnected with. So do we shrug our shoulders and say, there's nothing I can do, I'm just one person, completely forgetting what Margaret Mead said, which was never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Can we be a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals? We are taught to Ernest Holmes says that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. And we are taught in this teaching, we give methods to train our thinking in a direction. Will we live that? Will we apply that? It's been said that throughout history it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most that has made it possible for evil to triumph. So the universe has need of organs here at this time. Have you noticed? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And we are those organs. We understand both the oneness and the actions that are a violation of that oneness, of that interbeing community, that what is done to one is done to all. We know this. We understand this. And so we can hide behind a false notion of, oh, it's all good. We call that spiritual bypass. Oh, it's all good. Which, while true on the highest spiritual level, isn't the experience of millions of people right now, including people right in this community, right in this center. There's at least one person that I know of in this center who got one of those little, you can choose out of working for the government option letters this week. I recently got this lesson while doing prayer for one of my prayer partners, who I think is here, having a health challenge, and I went right for the highest good. I know that this health thing is an illusion, it's gone, it's all that stuff. There's only wholeness and health in God, and all that stuff and the non-reality of her illness on the purely spiritual level. And afterwards she said to me, that's not exactly what I really wanted to hear from you. Dang. It didn't support her in feeling seen and heard on the human level. In assuming the post of being organs of the divine in this form, we must involve spiritual truth at the human level. We must be present and be able to hold both as true simultaneously. Yes, all is perfectly good, all is perfectly well, and at the human level, there's some stuff happening. And deal with both and bring both together. Thich Nhat Hanh said, spirituality is not religion. I love that line. Spirituality is not religion. It is a path for us to generate happiness, understanding, and love so we can live deeply each moment of our life. Having a spiritual dimension to our life does not mean escaping life or dwelling in a place of bliss outside the world. Rather, it means discovering ways to handle life's difficulties and generate peace, joy, and happiness right where we are on this beautiful planet. Richard Rohr this past week quoted Bruce McLaren, who said that most of Christianity as it's lived today is an evacuation plan for the next world. I love that line. Where Jesus taught healing. in the here and now. And that's what we're being called to, is healing in the here and now. For ourselves, for our brothers and our sisters. As we prepare to celebrate our 20th anniversary of the center this April, I'm reminded that we originated as the Center for Spiritual Awakening. That was our first name. Before shifting a decade ago to the Center for Spiritual Living. And both of these names contain action words, awakening and living. We're not the center for those who are already awake and done. I'm complete. I'm just going to sit here and be awake. Nor are we the center for just hanging out with like-minded people and feeling good. No, we're called ourselves to be to the activities of awakening and then living these concepts, applying this teaching in our everyday human lives. Our mission that we read every Sunday, that we see every Sunday up there, is to learn, live, and share spiritual principles. That living part is important. Yes? Helping to pick up the spilled groceries of life and asking our deep inner wisdom, what is mine to do and be in these times? And then stepping up and doing it and not be a silent voice. So how does this look for us? I don't know. I truly don't know. But what I do know is where to look for that answer. And that is within, to listen to that voice within, knowing that the answer for me will be different than the answer for you and you and you and each and every one of us, because we are individual organs of spirit. We each bring our own beauty, our own uniqueness to this life. So I turn within to the answers to an infinite mind that is interbeing as all life, that is more than my limiting ideas that I am a small, separate, helpless self, which sometimes in the face of all that's going on in life, not just right now, but oftentimes for all of our lives, we oftentimes have felt small, helpless, and what can I do? That this infinite oneness knows how to express its nature of life, of love, of light, of power, of peace, of beauty and joy, more fully than it is now being expressed, and that we are called to listen, to empty to, and embody this nature. To actively participate in what we can call healing in this world. Ernest Holmes has a wonderful reminder that says, healing and demonstration take place as our minds become attuned to the truth of being. This ease literally means I'm out of ease, right? When I'm in ease, I'm in alignment. I'm in tune with the natural way of being. He goes on to say there is no process of healing, because in spirit, nothing is truly sick. In spirit, nothing is truly out of alignment. But there is a process in healing. And this process is the time and effort which we undergo in our realization of the truth. In other words, it takes us oftentimes time and effort to come into alignment with that which is already so. Because if you're like me, we forget. We get talked out of it. We get moved out of it. We forget. So we must engage in and be transformed by the renewing of our minds to align with a higher and greater idea and consciousness. And we must start where? Within, and where we are. Where we are right now. I've often talked about being a people who are for something and against nothing. But I have to say that sometimes we have to start with the against in order to get to the for. Sometimes we have to sit with the no for a while to say, no, this is not acceptable, to let the deeper yes emerge. And so don't be afraid to sit in the no, this is not right. Not as a place to make your home, not as a place to set up a 4-star resort hotel. I'm just going to be angry and resist and, no. But as a place to say, I'm going to say, no, this is not right, and I'm going to let what it is that needs to happen emerge through and as me. Sometimes as interbeings, we have to say no to policies that hurt others, recognizing that it is not those people who are being hurt, deported, dehumanized, that it is all of us, even those who are acting out of their own ignorance, pain, and fear. And so the question is, how will you be a center for spiritual living? It's not the title of an organization. It's not this building. It's not this group. You and I are centers of and for spiritual living. So how will we do that? See, last week I invited people who don't know or feel a little rusty with our practices to sign up for a class. Gave that as the homework, right? And people all said, yes, we'll do that. You know, either apply it, you know, do the spiritual mind treatments and visioning, or sign up for the class. And do you know how many people signed up for that class? Two. So I presume that means the rest of you spent the week actively visioning, doing spiritual mind treatments, or doing something in alignment that lifts the world. I'm just going to presume that. Do not put your hands up. I'm not here to group shame anybody. And if you did neither, welcome to... No, I'm not going to say that. I had a little come to Jesus moment there, but you got it. I want to remind us what Martin Luther King Jr. said, that until all are free, none are free. We are interbeing. We are interbeing. So because this is Groundhog's Day, and there was a wonderful movie made about Groundhog's Day, in which we got to do it over and over and over and over again until we learned our lesson, our practices this week look exactly like the practices of last week. Carrie was so happy when she said, you never sent me a slide of what are the practices this week. And I said, well, they're actually the same ones as last week. She says, good, I already had that slide. And basically what I want you to understand about these practices is there's two things here that we're being called to. One is either to learn, and the other is practice. Learn and practice. That's really all we're ever doing in life. That's really all the homework I ever give is learn something new, practice it, apply it. Learn something new, practice it. Share it, take it out. So, if you're new to or rusty with this teaching, sign up for the class, which starts this coming Saturday, being taught by Linda Bremer, who's in the back corner there. And it is today is the last day to do that at a discounted rate if you want to get the certificate. It's also available on what we call a pay-what-you-can basis if you don't want a certificate. So don't let money stop you. And it's a 6-week class. It's a wonderful class. Sign up for the class and learn how to tap into this infinite possibility. And number two, if you're already really good at this, make sure you take time to treat, to vision, take some time to sit with Spirit and say, what is it that you want to express as me? What am I being called to be and do here in the world right now? Take some time to do that. Expand your use of these powerful tools. Are we good for that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. And hopefully some of the rest of you are too. I want to close with a quote that most of you are probably quite familiar with, but I think it's very appropriate for right now. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous, I would say, and powerful? Who am I to be this? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, an expression of God. You're God in form, yes? Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I invite you to liberate yourself, knowing that as interbeings, we liberate all this week. We have an affirmation I'm going to invite us to share. Say this with me. I open to the infinite reservoir of love and let it flow through me into the world. One more time. I open to the infinite reservoir of love and let it flow through me into the world. So I do, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.